Yo, what up, people? Check, 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 check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Praying that everything is all right out there. In in hoops land. This is your boy JR. Hey, good morning, y'all. This is the TSA Hoop Show, man. Let's get it started this morning. Yo, we are carry the one 9 days away, y'all. We are 9 days away from kicking off what could be the sunset season for a lot of your favorite players, could be the rising sun for some new favorite players, could be quintessentially a very huge blockbuster season. It is the TSA Hoop Show, and we have the NBA season coming in. Um, and I'm absolutely excited for this season because we're on the tail end of the Olympics. We've sort of been itching for things to happen from uh trades perspective. Uh Summer's been kind of weird, had a carousel of coaches, absolutely nuts. And we're going to be starting right at the end of the WNBA season, which is in its finals right now and has been, I think, if anyone is anyone, and if you love hoops in general, I hope, I pray that you guys tuned into that game one of the NBA finals because Courtney Williams for three. Yeah, that call was absolutely insane. Talking about the Minnesota Lynx versus the New York Liberty, who are in the finals. We're gonna be going over a bunch of stuff today. And I say we only got an hour, but we ran over last week. Shoot, we might run over this week. So we want to thank you first and foremost for listening into this show. If you do not have to get up this early or stay up this late, depending on where you're at, to watch the show, but your likes and subscribes definitely help us keep this show going. It gives us a reason to get up at 7:30 Pacific Standard Time every Sunday to bring you our perspective, our news, our insights on what we're doing as far as betting is concerned. So we appreciate you tuning into that. A lot more to tune into. Well, I got all my Raider stuff on. I know it's Sunday, y'all. Look, listen, I'm doing it too. Look, listen, I got my squad on, but it's still hoops today. And also want to thank the Better app, where you can place your fantasy bets online. Thank you to our sponsor, the Better app, where you can get all your bets. Don't forget to check that out, the Better app. We Better app is matching up deposits up to $100 if you enter our code TSA bets. Again, that is TSABETS on the Better app. Enter that code to get your initial deposit matched up to $100. Okay, so we got WNBA, we got NBA, we got some fantasy stuff that we got to get to because we are dropping the top 30 as far as our fantasy perspective. I got a draft in less than an hour. So as soon as I get off with y'all, I got to get on with the homies. We are going to be kicking it. We are going to be doing a live. We're going to be doing our live draft at 8:30 today. We're going to be posting about that along with information about our top 30. We're going to be going through some of those players today. So hopefully we have enough time to get to just about anything. We got some guys that said they may join us today. We're going to see. Again, no promises. I'm not holding anyone accountable because you know that we just like to keep it live, keep it fresh here, keep it free, keep it moving here. So we're gonna try to get to just about everything today, and we also got to drop some bets for you for Game 2, the WNBA Finals today. Give a little bit of our predictions, what we think about that. So let's get it started. Okay, so last week, we were just getting through the semifinals, and what was, I don't know, for myself it was a little disappointing because I didn't get the outcome that I wanted with the Las Vegas Aces, losing to the New York Liberty. But the New York Liberty essentially conquered their dragon. They did what a lot of teams always hope to do, which is beat the team that has been continually keeping, and specifically this squad that was created to beat the Aces, and that's what they finally did. And it took a monster performance from Sabrina Ionescu in order to do that. Absolutely crazy. Picked the New York Liberty essentially on the show to carry that out, but hope that the Vegas Aces would come back at least to make it a game 5. They did not. New York Liberty moved on in handily fashion. And if you guys have not seen the tweet, we'll find a way to retweet that for y'all. My boy Rico sent it to us in our chat. Absolutely nuts. Putting the Tims on the Las Vegas Aces logo. That was chef's kiss, chef's for social media account runner for that. Hey, whoever you are, you deserve a bonus for that tweet. On the other side, the big defensive minded game between Connecticut Sun and Minnesota Lynx. The Minnesota Lynx absolutely came with it the second half against the Connecticut Sun in their game 5. Connecticut Sun actually pushed it to 5 games. That's not the outcome that we had predicted last week, but that's what happened. And essentially it was pretty good. The Minnesota Lynx ended up coming out of that. And there's so many players that you can look at that they hit you with defensively, especially the defensive player of the year now in Nafisa Collier. We've been talking about her again all season long. And if y'all haven't been paying attention, y'all paying attention now. I'll tell you that much. Predicted some things and ended up coming out with the W. The Minnesota Lynx ended up being successful and winning that game 5. And here we are. It's the Liberty versus the Lynx in the WNBA Finals. And the Lynx, if you guys have not seen game 1, the Liberty were up 18. Fourth quarter. Dig in. U.S. Women's National Basketball Team head coach, multiple-time head coach champion, Cheryl, got your team together. Y'all represent, dug in, said this is not who we are, this is not how we play. Dug in, pushed that game to overtime. Y'all did not see the Courtney Williams. I don't know what Sabrina Ionescu was doing. This is the player that we were not used to seeing. Sabrina Ionescu, and I want to preface this real quick because so you're talking about several mistakes that happened, a huge run put together by Nafisa Collier, Courtney Williams, and I believe it was Alana Smith that put all of these runs together. Bat. It was like 1, 2, 3. Put together 2 sets of runs in order to push this game to get to overtime. It came down to a foul on Brianna Stewart on a lob in. Got hooked on that last play on the fourth quarter. Got fouled. Missed the free throw on the back end of 2 free throws. Ties the game. Goes to overtime. New York Liberty lose by 2 in what had to be one of the biggest blockbuster events, one of the highest watched games this season. It was absolute mayhem and absolute. I don't want to call it a miracle, but we've seen Minnesotan teams come back from double digits before. Shout out to Denver. So game 2 is today. Jumping off here in about in a few hours. If you guys have not tuned in before, please tune into that game because I have nothing to talk about with y'all. And I had to give a special shout out to JC at JC Money Design because him and his love for Minnesota teams is going to shine through from the Vikings all the way up to the Lynx, all the way on to the T-Wolves, man. Minnesota's doing it this year, so y'all need to Twin Cities watch out. Y'all be careful, okay? So yeah, what's up, JC? Yeah, let's talk. Game 2 is tonight. Y'all need to tune in. Tap in. Okay. So that was what we were at last week. We also talked a little bit about some NBA things that are upcoming. We're gonna get to that in a bit because we definitely need to address the fantasy league that started up. Still developing that league, trying to get people. If you guys are listening to this right now and you have not check this out, I got the link up on my X profile. You can check that out there at 4F Apollo. Scroll down a little bit, you'll see it's posted right there. Got the sleeper fantasy team. Twins teams getting sold, so not hot for them. Yeah, but baseball season's over, and I'm in San Diego, so we don't have to worry about the Twins. You guys need to go check out the profile. You guys need to tap in. We're still looking for teams. We're still looking for ways to feature you guys, get your basketball knowledge out there. It's a great way to do it. Plus, you're going to be able to tap into a great community in the TSA Hoops community, along with myself. You're going to have a lot of heads out there. We're going to get our guy, Coach Craig, out there, who's going to help you guys out with your DFS stuff. Probably not too much because he's probably trying to win another league himself, too. And there might even be a belt featured. We're doing this as the inaugural season for this, to put this out there to the public, trying to get you guys in as much as possible. So tap into that. So we're gonna get to a lot of that stuff later on this show. We'll get that posted. So yeah, that was last week. This week, it's the week, y'all. Look, listen. All right, we're just gonna kick this off with some WNBA. Again, tonight is game 2. Tonight is game 2. This is the best of 5 series. And if dropping game 1 for most of you, for you hoops watchers, you believe that, okay, it doesn't matter. It's the first game. Got the first game jitters out of the way. Let me put some things into perspective for you. The New York Liberty have not won a WNBA Finals. I repeat, the New York Liberty have not won a WNBA Finals. Their first trip to the WNBA Finals against the Houston Comets. Okay, let's take you back to that year, because that was me. The Rebecca Lobo led teams got swept. Swoops. Where's Cheryl at? Swoops. Houston Comets swept. Okay. New York Liberty then was searching, and then one of them bottom of the barrel teams stuck around though. Up their social media game. Got their draft picks, of course. Sabrina Ionescu put their team together to because they said we can't do it with just Jonquel and Sabrina. We need to put some pieces around her. So they went and got Stewie. They went and got almost said Phoebage. What's my girl's name? I cannot remember off top of the head, but put some pieces together in order to build this super team in order to beat the Las Vegas Aces, who were on the verge of going back to back. They had not gone back to back yet. The Aces were still ascending. The image and the player that we know now as Asia Wilson ascending. Okay, so you had Stewie, who was overseas. Yeah, these players that were all over the place, that were alphas in their teams, and New York brought them all together. They were built to beat the Aces, and they're here, but they're down 0-1 in the best of 5 series. That game coming on later today, and I just gotta ask a huge question, Sabrina, where are you at? Because some of them late game miscues, the couple of turnovers, the foul on the shooter, I don't know if that's fatigue creeping in, if there's some mental aspect of fatigue that just wasn't clicking right there. I don't know if it was nerves. Someone said this to me yesterday, that when you are up double digits and you're starting to get you start to play the clock, then what tends to happen is that you tend to get fatigued even more, because you're not just playing to win the game, you're playing to stop the bleeding at the same time. So you're beating yourself up on both sides. And I could see a little bit of that as things went on during the game. And I'm wondering if there's not a thought process in trying to push this ball towards the interior, towards Jonquel, to try to get this try to get this dub. Very interesting thing that I heard in the announcement for game one. The success of New York Liberty was something like 15-2 when Jonquil Jones has a double double. So if you're looking for bets today and you're looking for a strategy, let's lean on that. Maybe JJ for a double double today. We could probably look into that of what the plus minus is on that. But successfully, what we've seen throughout this playoffs are two big things. No pun intended. That interior scoring is absolutely of super importance. And this can bleed into the NBA as well, because we're going to get to the importance of the big man, of course, but that power forward, center, interior scoring has been super imperative in as far as being able to spread teams out. Because as a player like Nafisa Collier, who's been able to stay out of foul trouble, has essentially been locking down some of the taller, lengthier players in JJ and Stewie, etc., and be able to decrease that, to slow the bleeding, and stop some of those con, what were contested shots and then started turning into open shots. Minnesota started bearing down, started doubling down on their defense. As that scoring started to dry up for the New York Liberty, you started to see that lead just shrink faster and faster and faster. So it's absolutely imperative for the Liberty to try to get that scoring consistent all the way through the fourth quarter. Second thing, I just said it, defense. Minnesota just came off playing one of the best defensive teams in the league, in the Connecticut Sun. Okay, 2 or 3 defensive of the year candidates over there. And Nafisa Collier, it was she. I don't know if I can sing the praises of this woman as much as I can. It's especially doing it all mainly within the second half of the season. Second in MVP scoring, DPOY winner. Okay. I don't know where she was at with MIP, but I'm gonna tell y'all right now, is absolutely insane what this woman is doing. How Cheryl Reeve is taking this team. The direction of this team is towards a championship, and I did not have Minnesota as a dark horse. I said there's a high possibility because, again, they've won championships before. This coach has won championships before. This team knows how to do it. They're going for I believe their fourth one. I don't know if it's third or fourth. I got to go back and look that up. Notes are being a little wonky this morning, but it is what it is. But if Courtney Williams keeps playing like she's playing, dropping 20 threes on heads, if Nafisa Collier starts getting out of that 20-point range, start getting that 25, almost 30-point range like she's been doing, I think it's a foregone conclusion that we're just going to go ahead and crown Minnesota the champions. And JC is going to be able to celebrate in his city, baby. In his city. Okay. Got some news that we also heard. I don't know if any of you are following the dub, but if you haven't and you enjoyed the way that the playoffs have been going so far, guess what? WNBA commissioner came out and said, we're changing the format a little bit for your opening rounds. You think it wasn't fair that some of these teams didn't get to go back to Indiana? I repeat, you think it wasn't fair that some of these teams didn't get to go back to Indiana because they weren't the home court team? Well, we're going to switch it up from a 2-1 format to a 1-1-1. That's home, away, home. So it doesn't matter. As long as your favorite team makes it to the playoffs, they're getting at least one playoff game, point blank, period, which is a great change for the league, of course. Some of these teams should be rewarded to represent the playoffs in their hometown. Travel should be implemented into the championship DNA for some of these teams. I believe you should be able to go out on the road beat a team at their home court in order to prove that can't nobody stop me. Can't nobody put no Timbs on this jaw. Ain't no curb stopping around here. So that is one change that's going to be implemented next season. The other thing that's going to happen, and this is absolutely phenomenal. We're getting a best of 7 series in the WNBA finals next season, y'all. That's right. The winner is going to have to win 4 games instead of 3. At the way that these things are heating up, I think that there's more room for basketball, which is great. The season is going to be extended to 44 games, I believe. So changes, and more basketball coming to you. We are literally going to have no rest for hoops. So if you guys love it, if you're into it, you need to be surrounded by it. Make sure you tap in next season for the WNBA, because last but not least, they are also giving you an extra team. That's right. The Golden State Valkyries are coming to us the next season. They have already named their head coach, who is an assistant coach for the Las Vegas Aces, who has definitely seen some championships in her day. Going to be the new head coach of the Golden State Valkyries. There's an expansion draft coming. And if you guys don't know what an expansion draft is, you need to go and look at the history of expansion teams. Most recently, Las Vegas Golden Knights. Expansion draft. The way that it works in the WNBA, teams get to protect 6 players, and then, the rest are eligible to get drafted by the newest and 13th team of the league, Golden State Valkyries. That draft is going to be happening December 6th. So we're going to be right on the cusp of the in-season tournament for the NBA, I believe, is going to be right around that same time. And there's going to be the expansion draft going on. It's going to be super important because, not mainly because of who's going to be drafted, but who teams are going to protect from being drafted. I think that's going to be a very telling thing for how teams are focusing, because again, before, a couple weeks ago, we talked about the firing of several head coaches where the teams had just drafted some of the top 10 draft picks. Atlanta Dream head coach, I don't think we even got to that, got canned after making the playoffs. So it's this trend of teams that are definitely seemingly in the lotto or close to it, getting draft picks, and the belief is that just for an image with the new league incoming and the way that things are going, that these organizations want certain coaches that are able to connect with the younger player pool, younger fan base, so on and so forth. Don't know if it's a dynasty building thing, if it's a culture building thing, or what, but a lot of changes coming for the WNBA. Y'all need to tune in and tap in. Anything else, what we're going to be doing, of course, we're just going to be posting that, sending that out. We're going to be giving you some off-season changes, of course, on the website at sportsaffiliation.com. So make sure you guys subscribe to that. Subscribe to the weekly newsletter, because the post of the week is going to include some hoop stuff too. You guys do not want to miss a thing. If you guys are just tuning in, this is the TSA Hoop Show. Good morning to y'all. I'm your host, JR. Possibly might be bringing some people on. We are moving on to the NBA. Finally, here. It is here. It is not coming. It is here, y'all. It is in our face. We've had some preseason games. Your feed is probably half LeBron James Jr. The other half is Karl Anthony Towns. And if there is room and someone wants to play over 100% of their timeline, then there is a smidgen of who is going to beat the Boston Celtics. For the last 2 weeks, I've been listening in. I've been reading tweets. I've been reading posts. I've been listening to you guys on your podcast. Yes, I listen to y'all too. So I just want to say, for all y'all that have been talking about the Boston Celtics being disrespected this offseason, with everything that's happened with the Olympics, votes on Finals MVP, um, and, and so on and so forth. Yeah, I low key agree. I low key agree. The Boston Celtics are getting a little bit disrespect because the way that they won games in an unprecedented manner, that 63 win team is absolutely nothing to joke about. The way that the decisions were made as far as Tatum becoming more of a passer and setting up folks when he's definitely not. He is an alpha. He's a scorer on any team. The setup and the way that Jaylen Brown has just been socially and physically, as far as hoops wise, been morphing into this amalgamation of just pure unchecked talent. The way that and this is the last time you guys will ever hear me talk positively about the Boston Celtics, because this is just hoops, okay? To be able to do all that they did to try to utilize an aging Al Horford, to get through the injury of Kristaps Porzingis, to be able to utilize the trade for the utilization of Derek White, the way that this team put it together, and then for us to go out and say, oh, well, that team's beatable. We've tried to do this before, and I'm telling you from personal experience, from a football perspective, we've done this before with champions, where we said, oh, they're champion this time, but they're still vulnerable. Oh, I see their Achilles heel. Kansas City Chiefs. That ring a bell to anyone? Set up the 49ers twice. Okay? Set up the Philadelphia Eagles. We set everybody up to go beat these guys, and nobody has done it yet. Same thing for the Boston Celtics. Made the trades in New York. We bolstered some teams out in Philadelphia. The West is getting healthy. Everything. There's all these sub points, which we're going to get to. And I put in on the website of TSA, the sportsaffiliation.com. We got a post up there that talks about the preseason, the number of wins, and the reasons why the Boston Celtics may get beat. But it's not to be disrespectful. It's just to be respectful of the talent. But the way that y'all are spinning it out there, y'all saying these guys are not going to be able to repeat what they did last year. I think that's incorrect. I think Kristaps Porzingis is definitely going to come back healthy and help this team absolutely kill it. Yeah, they lost Robert Williams, but Robert Williams was a little bit unhealthy in the first place, so that's a bad backup. Those guys are going to figure it out. The question isn't how they are going to get beat, is if anyone else has the talent to keep pace with them, and no one has the talent to keep pace right now. High volume and 3-point shooting team. No one's gotten up to that volume yet. High amount of offense. No one's been able to touch that scoring volume yet. And the way that they're able to go from offense to defense in just a short amount of time, no one's been able to touch that. Okay? And too many pieces are moving around them for us to say that some team is going to settle in early enough and do it often enough to beat this squad. Luckily, the schedule is also out, and Boston's got a very good set of games to start out the season. It's not going to be a cupcake walk for their first weekend. They are the champs, and they're going to have to continue to prove it. So you guys make sure to tune into that first week for the NBA. Shout out to New York. I own some Timbs too. This Karl Anthony Towns trade does not move the needle as much as y'all think it does. I repeat. The Karl Anthony Towns trade does not move the needle as much as y'all think it does. And here's why. And I'll say it again and again and again. Karl Anthony Towns is an all-star. Karl Anthony Towns is great at the big man position. Karl Anthony Towns is an offensive threat. Yet, Karl Anthony Towns is susceptible to injury now. Karl Anthony Towns was susceptible to injury during the time that Coach Thibodeau coached the Minnesota Timberwolves. he also needs backup. The way that New York used Hart and Josh Hart and just kept pushing the high amount of minutes between him, Brunson, uh Hartenstein at the time, DiVincenzo at the time. The way that these guys essentially used their heart and their energy to ball out was the reason why they, not just defensively, but offensively, gritted out a lot of these games in order to get as far as they did. And everyone said it. Oh man, if they were just healthier, then they would have gotten through the playoffs. How do you get Karl Anthony Towns in a trade and say that satisfied your two biggest glaring things? The big man position, which you now put him up against Joel Embiid. You put him up against Bam Adebayo. You're putting him up against Bridges. There's just there are too many physical big men in the East to say that it's going to be a successful initial run for Karl Anthony Towns. Plus, New York just is taking on that contract that Minnesota decided to re-up Cat with $200+ million. And who's his backup? Because right now, we're still waiting to hear back on the health of. Still waiting to hear back on the health of Sims and what's the brother's name that's not coming back till December? We ain't got it. Okay, we'll get back. We'll post that later. We got a nice little edit thing that we do for these shows anyway, so it's gonna get edited over. But the backup bigs in New York still need to get healthy, and the drop off offensively from Cat to the next guy is very significant to where the first 6 weeks of the season, New York is going to have to rely heavily on McCall, Brunson, I don't think that, okay, if you go and you study Cleveland for a while, the Cleveland Cavs, and you see what their success was like utilizing their point man, the Donovan Mitchell, to essentially carry teams through the initial part of the year. It's great statistically, it's great from a fantasy perspective, but it is not conducive to trying to develop a way to win and to be successful, more specifically in the East. Because that Cavs team ended up going toe-to-toe with a team that had held them to, what was it, low 90s, high 80s. And I don't think that New York wants to get into that sort of slugfest, having to grind it out. They're going to have to find a way to get these guys back faster to back up Cat, because if Cat's going to start out at the beginning of the year and he's going that hard, I don't think he'll last the season. So I don't think it moves the needle for them offensively. You can't move the needle if you don't have a player there to move it for you. And I think that while they're going to win some games with him, I think that it may only improve their overall win record by 4 games. I'll let you guys marinate on that for a second. Other NBA stuff coming up. We got some fantasy stuff coming up, y'all, so we got to get to that in a little bit. But yeah, before we get to that, make sure that you guys are hitting that subscribe button, hitting that like button for this channel. We don't just do, this is the TSA Hoop Show. We are part of the entire Sports Affiliation Network. Make sure to follow the Sports Affiliation here on YouTube. We would highly appreciate that, just so you guys make sure to know when your fantasy stuff is coming up. Hoops, baseball, football. Haven't talked hockey yet, but it's getting there. We got shows just about every day, all through the week, guest features, Great advice. Getting your bets out there. Make sure you guys tap in. We're going to get into the second half of this show in just a moment. Here's a word from our sponsor.
Here we go.
Money, making crap for money, and money, making crap for money, yeah, money, making crap for money, and money.
All right, with that being said, does anyone want to put out the over-under for how long LeBron James Jr. is going to be part of the 13-man rotation for the Los Angeles Lakers? I got 12 games. I got the line at 12. Anyone want to put in the comments here now or later on when you go back and watch the show? I got 12 games for LeBron James Jr. before he gets designated to the G League affiliate South Bay Lakers. I'm buying a San Diego Clippers ticket so that way when the South Bay Lakers come into town, LeBron James Jr. comes into town, he brings the rest of the Lakers with him. It's going to be a whole movie. I'm buying that ticket. I'll tell you that right now. Because, yeah, the Clippers G League affiliate team is back in San Diego, y'all. I'm telling you, the master plan has all come together. The stars have aligned for me to be able to see the Lakers for cheap. All that's got to happen is LeBron James Jr. has got to play just enough to be considered to stay part of the team, to develop in the league. JJ Redick sends him down to the South Bay Lakers to continue to develop for the rest of the season. One of those games versus the San Diego Clippers. Maybe after an early game for the Lakers, LeBron and company shoot on down to watch LeBron and James Jr. play. Of course, Dalton Connect is still going to be a player on the squad, so we're not going to have to worry about him. We might not even see him in the G League game at all. He's too grown for that. But LeBron James Jr., 12 games, that 13th game might be against the San Diego Clippers. It might be one I'm going to go see. You might see your boy come back with a 9 jersey. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It's all jokes. It's all love. Anyway, we got to look at some of these rookies coming up. Atlanta, their number one overall pick is looking better. Zachary Richeshe, who is looking less like Victor Wembanyama and more like a much more fluid Chet Holmgren. And when we were talking about the draft earlier this season, you go back and go through the history and look up TSA hoops, and we were talking about the draft. Zachary Richeshe, I initially thought that he was drafted to counter Victor Wembanyama, which would be interesting for the games that would be San Antonio versus Atlanta Hawks. Because then what we could see is how, in a sense, that this will work. I mean, Victor Wembanyama is going to be in the second year, going to be teamed up with Chris Paul, who we've seen in some preseason games do really well in getting the kid initially set up. This is how you throw a lob. Conversely, now you have a DeJounte Murray-less Atlanta Hawks, Trae Young getting thrown back into that leadership point guard position with Zachary Richeshe, who's playing more of a stretch four than he is really a 5. He's not really that. He's tall, but he's not that kind of player. More of face up to the basket than he is back to the basket. It's going to be interesting to see the parallels in between the two. They're going to be made all season because there's still rumors of Trae Young going to San Antonio. That Chris Paul is essentially a placeholder until San Antonio can get the right pieces around Wembanyama to turn them back into a championship team. And then the Atlanta Hawks, who continue to be in rebuild mode. It is absolutely odd the way that they pop into the playoffs, show their face, and then don't show their face for a few seasons for one reason or another. Their rookie slowly developing. Got some year 2 players to shout out, particularly one in Brandon Miller, Charlotte Hornets. We're going to be talking about a few of these guys as far as fantasy is concerned in just a few moments. Top 30 coming up. But that's one player that I'm definitely keeping an eye on. On the other side, looking at 2 players in the West Coast, Amen Thompson and Scoot Henderson. Okay. So that's 3 players: Brandon Miller, Amen Thompson, Scoot Henderson. Those are the guys that I'm looking for as far as big jumps in year 2, along with Victor Wembanyama. I think talking about the jump of Victor Wembanyama is kind of like a foregone conclusion. It's just like, okay, how many games are they going to feature him in? How many games is he going to play this year? I got them also, the San Antonio Spurs, on the cusp of a play-in team. They could get like the 9th seed. So if you guys are thinking about projections and what we're going to see, possibly some Victor Wembanyama down the stretch, that's something I would be looking forward to. And let's talk about Philly for a second. Okay, so if you guys are Philly fans out there, or you're trying to figure out if Philly's going to do anything this year, I think Philadelphia has less of a hill to climb as far as assimilation and getting their stuff together to be successful in the East, as well as beating the best teams in the league. But it's all still going to depend on the health of Joel Embiid. No matter what happens with Tyrese Maxey as far as his production getting changed because of the presence of Paul George, it still doesn't make a difference if they don't have their big man in the middle, because again, throughout the East, the success of the interior, defensively and offensively, is going to make all the difference. You saw what happened when Joel Embiid was playing basically on one leg in the playoffs. It just doesn't work. Without that interior presence, teams go in layup after layup after layup. It's a parade of layups, because that's the one shot that everyone believes that they can hit. And if there's no one there to guard against it, then there's no fear in those teams. In Philadelphia, I think what they want to try to establish is for the league to fear them. And it's hard to fear a team when you believe that they have an Achilles heel. Hold on. Is this on? Check 1, 2. The fear is not there yet in Philadelphia, okay? We talked about the disrespect that Boston's seen because of the trades and acquisitions that have happened throughout the league, mostly in the East, between New York and Philadelphia. But the fear is not there. Miami said, we'll run this back. So if Philadelphia sat there and said, oh, we got to get a guy who felt that he was disrespected by his organization and Paul George, let's go save him from the Clippers. And hey, we got a healthier Joel Embiid. He just got off. You saw that Olympic run that he had, the way that he played against Nikola Jokic in a couple of those games. By the way, look at me. He looked like a damn hippo running. He was slow as molasses. Okay, I don't see Joel Embiid doing any other kind of running during the season. But anyway, you got this team in Miami that said, oh, we'll just run it back because whatever Philly's doing. Let Philly do Philly. Philly ain't going nowhere. I don't think it moved the needle. I don't think it did much. I don't think it did as much as it's supposed to. A lot of these win totals we're going to go back and readjust and change and everything like that, and they're going to be reposted tomorrow on the sportsaffiliation.com. So make sure you tune in there. But it doesn't move the needle as much as you guys think it does. We'll make our adjustments. We'll let you guys know what's up. Okay. Now the fun part of the show. Let's make some money, man. Again, for all intents and purposes, we want to let you guys know that the sports affiliation is trying to help you guys build your bankroll. Get better bets. Just have some fun with it, man. And no, we don't get them all right here at Sports Affiliation, but we definitely like to think that we do. We like to make sure that we get you guys on the table as quick as possible, you guys are taking your break from that early morning NFL game, trying to find something to parlay with, trying to find something to play with today. WNBA is playing today. We got some tickets. We'll post them up on the X there. Let's get into them real quick. Okay, so your boy uses mainly Fliff and Prize Picks, but wherever you guys find these lines at, make sure to tap in. Let us know exactly where you're making your bets, what we think about them. We will evaluate them for you. I mean, you probably have already made them, but we'll do our best to help you guys out, because if everybody makes money, then maybe we'll see some of it too. No, if everyone makes money, it just makes us happy. Just being right and being helpful is absolutely the premise of our community. So make sure that you guys tap in. Okay, so let's talk about the WNBA real quick. We addressed it a little bit earlier. Again, the New York Liberty and the Minnesota Lynx are facing off for game 2 today. So talked a little bit about Brianna Ionescu, her late game miscues, I will call them. Definitely took away from her overall totals from last week, but got Ionescu on several different lines today. So the New York Liberty are playing at home. Sabrina Ionescu unsuccessfully reached about the 30-point total in PRA. Today, got the line at 29, so I put that at the under. I'm not entirely sure what's going on with her mentally, but it seems that while she's on a tear in the first half, the second half, it's like either teams defensively lock down on her, or she becomes so monotone in the offense that it takes away from her production from both the assists and the points perspective. They end up having to go elsewhere to try to look for their points, and I think that's what slows down the Liberty's offense overall. This could be another game for Ionescu where she's going to have to defer to someone like Jonquel Jones or Brianna Stewart. So I put the under on PRA at 29 there. Also on Ionescu, I was looking at a line at a different bet. 3 points made. That one's a goblin. For those that don't know or tease down for the for those that are not unfamiliar with Prize Picks, line set at 1.5. I put more because Ionescu can shoot threes, and those shots do become available. So whichever of those you guys decide to pick, the safer bet I believe is the over on the 3-pointers at 1.5. Another 3-point shooter, because I like looking at 3-point shots. Alana Smith, her line is teased down to half, and I put that on the over for 3 points made. And the reason why this is still such an iffy bet is because she twisted her ankle in game 1. So it's a question of if I believe she's good to go today. There have been no reports of her sitting out this game. But the question is she going to be 100% and be able to have that pop for Minnesota this game to be able to make that 3-point shot? She is good for them. She's hit 2 or 3 in some games. So I believe that over is a pretty good bet overall. It's just going to depend on her health. So over on a half 3 points made. And of course, Stewie. Brianna Stewart, I put her on the point assist at 24. The points are not going to be an issue because they're going to need those high amounts of double-digit points, 20-point scoring from her. It's the assists that are going to be more of the concern. She's going to have to get a bunch of them in the first half for us to hit that line, but I put the over on 24 for her on that. Some other lines that would be fun to look at, Jonquel Jones, 23.5 for points, rebounds. Now, she can go 10 and 10, 10 and 11, 10 and 12. The rebounding aspect, absolutely imperative for New York Liberty to be able to control the ball to get to a lot of those offensive possessions, because for all intents and purposes, the New York Liberty are a great rebounding team. They had something like 13 straight offensive rebounds to Minnesota's none, okay? Which means that there were a lot of second chance opportunities for New York Liberty to score, and they were mostly surrounded by Jonquel Jones. So being able to get in the line is 23.5 points, rebounds. If it were more like a 20 range, I would have hit the over automatically. But 23.5, it starts to get into that late game, where's the offense headed type of thing. So just scheming that 23.5. You guys check that line out. Tell me if you decide to go over or under on that one. Another one that does not get talked about enough is Kayla McBride on Minnesota. Points. Her points I put under on 14 because she does score. She does keep the offense flowing. But she doesn't get talked about enough. She doesn't get seen enough. She doesn't get enough looks. So I don't know if 14 is going to be had this game. New York Liberty are long and they're defensive in their own right, and they can shut some other players down. And I think Kayla McBride might be a microcosm of that whole thing. This might be a much more lower scoring affair than the first game was. So we're going to see we're going to see a lot more unders on this game. I think that one's a good under to go with. So let me know how you guys do, how you build your tickets. We're going to post up a couple of ours that we built under this account at 4F Apollo on the X. And we're going to also repost it to the StreamYard, to the YouTube show after this as well. And as far as a winner today, it's just straight bet. I'm picking the Liberty to tie this thing. You don't get home court advantage throughout the playoffs and not find a way to take advantage of it. New York Liberty are too good of a team, too seasoned of a team to let this opportunity slip. Again, this is a best-of-5 series. This technically could be their last chance to get in the game and try to win this whole thing. They're going up against the Commissioner Cup's winners, okay? So in somewhat of a player format, Minnesota does have the upper hand. I forgot to mention that earlier in the show. The Minnesota Lynx are Commissioner Cup winners, which is like their mid-season tournament. They put the two best teams against each other. These are the two best teams of the season. They're very familiar with each other, so this is another reason why you're seeing a lot of jockeying and stuff like that, and a lot of gaming is concerned, and why these games are so close. But I think the New York Liberty are in a must-win situation today because time is not a friend for anybody this season, this series. So just picking straight up, going for New York Liberty for the win, and Jonquel Jones for the double-double on the over for that. I think she hits the double-double today. What else do we have there? Oh, guys. My draft is happening in 6 minutes. Okay, so just want to throw this out there. We're going to get this posted up real quick. I'm going to go ahead and toss the link to the article. We have our initial, and this will be edited later for additional commentary on the picks, their placement, the order, and everything like that. But if you go to the sportsaffiliation.com, and you look for fantasy player rankings preseason. TSA Hoops fantasy player rankings is the name of the article. Let me just go ahead and share this with y'all. We have here listed the top 30 fantasy players for your upcoming season, okay? These guys, and this is in order, by the way. The order will change from week to week as we get more input from guys like at Coach Craig, as we get more input from guys like Hot Take, as we get more input from guys like Iggy, SoCal, so on and so forth. We got the name, the team position doesn't really matter. Actually, it does kind of matter, and we'll kind of get into that on a separate piece. But we've also tiered them out. And just to quickly explain this, because this will be kind of fleshed out on the piece, but your top guys right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Victor Wembanyama, all the way on down to Kevin Durant, are the must-have guys. So if you guys are in the 1 through 8 position, these are the guys who you want to draft and center your team around. If you don't have these guys, if you get sniped, whatever, you decide to trade them away, it's going to be on you. And we have the top 30. Okay, just go through that list. Let us know what you think. I'm going to give you guys the results of my draft later on today. Going to get that posted up on X, and we'll get some back and forth going to just let you guys know exactly how the season is going to be going as far as that is concerned. So the TSA draft is not the one that's coming up immediately. It's actually a separate draft, but we'll still be sharing some notes and some takes from that. And what else do we got going on as far as fantasy is concerned? We're going to be sharing our we're going to be sharing our other TSA related stuff as the season goes on. Today is the show. Tomorrow you're going to get power rankings from us here at the Sports Affiliation. That's right. First preseason power rankings are going to be coming up. We're going to be 2, okay? Because the league doesn't start until next week. So you're going to get one. You're going to get one tomorrow. You're going to get one next Monday. Power rankings is going to be coming out every Monday for teams, okay? So if your favorite team is there in the bottom 10 and you disagree with that, you better fight harder than their coach is fighting for them. And you got some explaining to do. You can come on the show and defend that. What's the second thing? We're going to be, of course, we talk about fantasy. We're going to be releasing all of our fantasy-related stuff. I believe it's every Tuesday. Got some more stuff coming on X on Wednesday. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we're basically going to leave it to you guys, the people, to give us your content, give us your takes on what's going on during the week, because we're going to be featuring that on this show again on that Sunday. We're going to be doing this every week until they hoist the Larry O'Brien, and even then some afterwards. So make sure you guys tap in and tune in. Get us your info here, because we want to make sure to get you guys up there for all your fantasy stuff, for all your daily fantasy stuff, for all your bets. Again, I want to go ahead and put this out there. I'm gonna put him on this post on this in these comments. Follow at Coach Greg Sport. Okay, look, listen. I don't know how many times I got to tell you guys this, but we show everybody love on this platform. Okay, follow him on X. Find his account. Tell him I sent you. Tell him JR sent me. Okay. When we get your DFS stuff going up, this is one of the guys that you have to thank. You go to his YouTube channel, you tap in there, you tell him how successful you became because, we guide you there. We like to do a little concierge service here at TSA. We like to get you to the right spots. If it's not us, it's someone that we know. We just want to make sure that that fantasy ride that you are building gets you more than just from point A to point B. We want you to be able to drive PCH. We want you to be able to drive Route 66 and enjoy the entire season as is. So make sure to go follow him. Make sure to follow us here. I think that just about does it for today. Good Lord. Oh, yeah. The Hall of Fame enshrinement ceremony is today. It's going to be later on this evening, 6 p.m., I believe, Eastern Standard Time, on the NBA app. Gonna be featuring Lethal Shooter, man. If you guys haven't followed his behind on Instagram, talking about him shooting mini baskets, shooting the corner three was his latest thing. He's been at the White House. He's been a shooting coach for various teams throughout a couple of seasons. You see him everywhere. His social media is blown up. And now he's also being included in the NBA Hall of Fame ceremony because they're getting more into that, how social media has affected the vision, the how the NBA is being viewed, and his contributions to the game overall, talking about shooting formats and all that great stuff, has completely elevated the game. So his presence is being recognized this evening. Make sure to tune into the NBA Hall of Fame enshrinement ceremony. That's going to be super great, super important. I don't think there's any other news for the week. You guys make sure that you tune in next week because it is the show before the NBA season starts. It may be the show after the WNBA champion is crowned. Whichever the case may be, you guys make sure to tap in, tune in here, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys today. That's all from me. You guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Don't bet too hard. Don't get too turned up for this weekend because there's still a lot more season to go in the NFL. I know you guys are tapped in there. Make sure to tune into the rest of our shows the rest of this week. Got the Monday night show, got the watch party with JC, got the Sup Home Slice, got a whole bunch of stuff this week. Game Changers. Make sure to tap into that every week. With our girls, with our ladies at TSA, every single week they bring the pain, they bring the heat, they bring the entertainment for here at the Sports Affiliation. And last but not least, don't forget to subscribe to the sportsaffiliation.com. I am your host, JR. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Let's get out of here. Deuces.